Disclaimer. The following is a true crime-style dramatization of pre-existing fictional media. The rights to said media belong to their respective rights holders, and any resemblance to persons living or dead not stated in the original media is merely coincidental, and honestly, would be pretty wild.
Hello and welcome to Season 2 of Real Strange Tales, where we delve into the strange, violent, mysterious, and macabre tales that take place in our real world. I'm your host and narrator, Mike Howes, aka Slaughterhouse.
And I'm Squirm Donor.
What the hell?
Something new I'm trying out, since we're spooky YouTube boys now.
You should stop.
Dude, it's just for a little bit. If it doesn't work out too well, I'll change it back. Did you know it costs money to change your name?
Please tell me you didn't legally change your name to Squirm Donor.
Did you not just hear me? It cost money. No, I changed it on Facebook. Get a feel for it.
Alright, right on. I wish you luck, Cody.
Squirm.
Alright, this is dumb. Ready to head into another season of terrifying true tales?
Boy, howdy. What are we talking about today?
I already told you at the end of the last episode. You were excited.
Yeah, that was like a year ago.
That was hardly over 3.5 months.
Okay, fine. Maybe I don't remember things the best. Is that the Squirm Don's fault? Blame it on the alcohol, baby.
Alright, you were drunk last episode, so I guess it's fair it would have slipped your mind.
I wasn't just drunk during the last episode. I've been drunk since the last episode.
Really?
I mean, I'm good today. Tell Papa Squirm what we're talking about.
Well, I'm happy to reveal to you for the second time, we'll be detailing a case about someone you both know and love.
Dylan?
No, we're checking back in on the Chucky urban legend.
Oh my god. That means...
Yup. Just like the Development Hellions, Andy Barclay is back.
Andy Barclay's back!
Following the events of the Good Guy Doll murders, a lengthy trial resulted in Karen Barclay being placed under psychiatric evaluation. She was the only adult that would attest to a doll, possessed by serial killer Charles Lee Ray, being the culprit responsible for the deaths of Maggie Peterson, Eddie Caputo, John Bishop, and Dr. Ardmore. The police, including Mike Norris and Jack Santos, who were on the scene, fully denied her version of the events.
Well, that's fucked. They should be ashamed of themselves.
Norris and Santos didn't have much control over the situation. I mean, the police wouldn't let them come forward.
Ah, good point. You know what happens when cops try to do the right thing?
And I don't think Karen held it against Norris personally.
Oh, why's that?
Well, they stayed in touch, and after all was said and done, Karen and Mike actually ended up together. Still married to this day.
Oh, that's so cute!
While Karen was being evaluated, Andy was placed in the foster care system.
Oh, you can stay with me, little homie. I got a perpetual pets I've been suspicious of for a few months.
The bulk of this story takes place in 1990, so I don't think you would have been in a position to care for an 8-year-old.
He was 8 in 1990?
Yeah.
That's weird to think about. You're used to seeing someone as a kid, so in your head they're a kid, but in reality, they're older than you.
I suppose that can be trippy if you have a tenuous grasp on reality and the way time works is like you do, so yeah, PlayPal's Toys, however, managed to recover the doll from evidence after the trial, with the intention of investigating whether or not something was wrong with their product.
There they go again, just lifting evidence. Dude, we need more people to subscribe so we can be famous, and I can just swing my weight around and collect crime scene evidence.
What do you want with crime scene evidence?
I just think it would be sweet to cook in, like, Leatherface's apron or something. It'd be a great conversation piece at a cookout.
What kind of conversation do you think that would start?
Hey, Squirm, what's up with all the blood on your apron?
What would you say?
Don't fucking worry about it.
That, doesn't sound like much of a conversation. You can't start one by just shutting down the person asking you the question.
Right. What should I say to the question, then?
To what's up with all the blood on your apron?
I got this from an evidence locker. Huh.
Would probably warrant some follow-up questions, primarily about the meal you're preparing.
Big dog, that's why you're the writer.
The investigation, headed by PlayPal CEO Haskell Sullivan, discovered that while the exterior of the doll had been badly burned, dismembered, and riddled with bullet holes, the internal mechanisms were all in perfect condition.
You can't beat engineering from the 80s, dude. They shot this damn thing and it still worked fine? I accidentally stabbed my niece's beach ball the other day, and it wouldn't reinflate no matter how close to an asthma attack I got.
How did you accidentally stab a beach ball?
Don't worry about it.
Alright, whatever, but I think stabbing a beach ball from the 1980s would have the exact same result.
Then why don't I remember popping any beach balls in the 1980s?
Because you were a baby at the end of the 1980s.
That feels like a coincidence.
After removing the charred bits of plastic and rebuilding the body, a technician for the company was electrocuted to death. His name has not been released to the public as PlayPal swept the evidence under the rug and denied that it ever happened.
You want to know something I learned in making this show with you? Aside from the narrator and you being the same guy, which, by the way, blew my mind, toy companies are the most nefarious entities in the world.
They don't seem to do much good.
Except Nintendo.
Before video games, they used to make inappropriate playing cards, and they owned love hotels.
Both of those things are awesome, so why are you bringing them up?
I feel like they've done some anti-consumer stuff, like not as bad as making a killer toy, but not squeaky clean.
Dude, that's Nintendo of America. OG Nintendo are angels, and even if they weren't, they gave me Samus.
You do love Samus.
She's so tall.
Wait, you thought me and the narrator were different guys?
She's so tall.
An executive named Elliot Matson was tasked with disposing of the doll. Matson was found dead in his car, having been suffocated with a plastic bag, his hands bound behind the car seat with jump rope.
Ooh, I sense a theme there.
What's that?
He was killed with toys, jump rope, and a plastic bag.
The warning labels say the plastic bags aren't toys.
Okay, that's a legal thing.
Records on his car phone.
He had a car phone?
Yes.
Badass.
Indicate that a call was made from his car to the orphanage that housed Andy, claiming to be his Uncle Charles, asking for his location.
That's bone-chilling.
Yeah, kid claims a doll named Chucky tried to kill him. Then a social worker gets a call from a to this point unheard of uncle with the same damn name as the doll that's just asking where he is. Then you find out it came from the car of a guy who was last seen alive with the Chucky doll.
Whew. Yeah, I mean, protocol would obviously be to hang up, right? But I personally would be morbidly curious as to how he would have tried to explain that. I don't think working in an orphanage, is for me. It probably takes more willpower than I have.
Grace Poole, Andy's social worker, informed Uncle Charles that Andy had been taken home by a foster couple, Phil and Joanne Simpson, a couple who got into fostering after discovering that they couldn't have kids of their own.
She told him?
I guess times and rules were different then.
Yeah, no shit. You could smoke in restaurants and tell strangers where kids who have been pursued by knife people are staying.
And keep in mind, per the official story, the guy that was after Andy is still at large at this point.
Whatever. Ass-kicking Andy ain't got no time for rubberneckers.
What the hell does that mean?
He's Andy, and he kicks ass.
You know that's not the part I was asking you about.
Already told you I don't have time.
Phil Simpson was hesitant about bringing Andy into their home, fearing what mental scars the trauma he experienced may have left on him.
Solid point, because you get in Andy's way, you get put down. That's the slogan of Andy Barclay.
Grace Poole, however, had promised that the killer doll story was just a fairy tale he'd concocted to make sense of the things he had experienced.
Oh, and by the way, I'm gonna let any stranger that asks know where you live. Bye! That voice didn't get you horned up, did it?
No, I'm good. Joanne enthusiastically gave Andy a tour around the house when he first arrived, including curtains she had sewn by hand for him.
I like this lady. 'Cause she's got a lot of sense. She's got a lot of sense. 'Cause 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 she's got a lot
Yeah, it's kind of heartwarming when you think about it. She couldn't have kids of her own, so she made sure to make as many as she could feel safe and comfortable in the time when they needed it most.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. That's great, too.
What was the reason you were thinking?
Oh, she can sew.
Yeah?
Dude, I ripped through more pants than the Hulk, my man.
How?
Do you remember when you bet me I couldn't do the splits?
In high school?
Day by day, I am closer to proving you wrong.
The room was also fully stocked with a toy box and a closet stuffed to the brim with toys and games.
Why did she put them in the closet if she had a toy box?
She had a toy box and a closet stuffed with toys.
Oh, what you said was ambiguous.
I disagree.
What kind of toys?
I don't know.
Anything worth money?
I don't know. I can tell you one of the toys he found, but just one of them. Andy's warm welcome soon went cold as he opened the closet and was greeted by a good guy doll.
Not the toy I thought it was going to be. I was expecting one of those baby dolls that make pisses.
Why would you think it would be a piss baby?
Everyone had piss babies back then.
Name one.
Corey Linebeck.
Who the hell is Corey Lineback?
A kid I knew that had a piss baby.
I don't know why I asked you to name one. That was dumb on my part.
Stacy Linebeck.
Well, they're brother and sister, so that's the same piss baby.
They weren't related.
Oh, you knew two Linebecks well enough to be aware that they both owned a piss baby?
Yeah, she took her stepdad's last name when her mom married him.
So they did have the same piss baby.
Yes.
This is off topic, but I want to prove you wrong. Name a third person that had a piss baby.
Rover Linebeck.
God damn it.
He was their dog.
This good guy doll was named Tommy, but to make Andy feel less uneasy, she moved it downstairs.
If I was under the impression a doll wanted to kill me, I don't think one staircase is going to make me feel better. I'd need two.
The Simpsons.
Do 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 do
You done?
do 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 do.
The Simpsons were already hosting a 17-year-old girl named Kyle, who had been there 3 weeks longer than Andy.
Was she in a foster home for killing her parents for naming her a girl, Kyle?
No,
Then what for?
that information was not available.
So it could have been that she killed her family for naming her a girl, Kyle.
No, because that would be dumb.
It really would. Please continue.
She was labeled as rebellious and didn't last long in homes, being sent away just as she grew comfortable. She worked nights to save up money for when she was on her own at 18.
That's the thing about foster homes that really just bugs me. You spend all this time with these people, you make memories, you have meals together, you share the family piss baby doll, then they turn 18 and you just get a toodaloo, orphan.
I'm sure the non-toxic foster families stay in touch.
That's an interesting concept. Did Lady Kyle keep in touch with the Simpsons?
No, but, not because they didn't get along.
Then why not?
It feels good to be back.
Oh, does something happen to them?
The morning after Andy arrived, a statuette that had been passed down in Joanne's family for generations was found shattered on the floor. Neither Andy or Kyle would confess to it, so they were both grounded. Kyle not allowed to go to work.
That's awesome. Did they still have to go to school?
Yeah.
Lame. Was the statue a gummy Venus de Milo?
No.
Because it's a Simpsons family heirloom?
Yeah, no, I understood what you meant, but it's from Joanne's family, not Phil's.
Why does that matter?
Because nobody else in Joanne's family would be named Simpson. They'd be whatever her maiden name is. Phil and Joanne weren't related before they got married. They aren't Milhouse's parents.
Wait, what?
Milhouse's parents. Look them up.
Okay, hold on.
Not while we're recording.
Holy ass, they look exactly alike!
Andy overheard the Simpsons arguing how things didn't seem to be working out. Phil believed that Andy's acting out would only get worse, but Joanne was willing to give him another chance.
He allegedly broke one statue that wasn't even his, and he's like, throw the whole damn kid out, this ain't working.
Yeah, Phil was a much less nurturing guy than his wife.
He sounds like a little ass clown.
Andy picked up the Tommy doll and allowed them to see him, to show he was moving past his fear in order to not be sent away.
Okay. I know that beneath his youthful and adorable exterior lurks the stone-cold heart of a vicious beast. I know this, but that's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
Kid has to walk around with the thing that scares him the most just to stay under a roof. Shit's tough.
And all that because Phil's dumbass doesn't know kids involve work? Oh!
What the hell?
Do you think that maybe Phil faked the not being able to have kids thing, and when Joanne brought up fostering, he just thought coming up with another excuse would seem too suspicious?
It's possible, I guess.
I hate this guy.
That night, the Simpsons awoke to screaming coming from Andy's room. They found him tied to the bed with Kyle standing over him. Andy claims he awoke to find Chucky had bound him and stuffs his sock in his mouth in an attempt to transfer his soul into his body. But Kyle, sneaking into his window after sneaking out, postponed that.
He sounds like a heavy sleeper. Was he drunk?
No.
Good. Because Mike, he's 8 years old.
Why are you yelling at me? The Simpsons saw the evidence in front of them and determined that Kyle had tied him to the bed and gagged him so that she could sneak out without him telling on her.
Wouldn't he be able to tell on her, after she got back and untied him?
Andy continued to stick to the Chucky story, causing Phil to chuck the doll into the basement, tired of the nonsense.
There we go. 2 staircases. Now that's safety.
The next day, Kyle walked Andy to his bus and asked how he managed to tie himself up like that, but Andy still insisted that it was Chucky.
If I could tie myself up, you know what I would do with that skill?
Is it something that will get this taken down?
I was going to say nothing because that's weird, but you kind of just pulled all the wind out of my joke.
Don't kink shame.
Fair.
That day, the Simpsons received a call from Andy's teacher, Elizabeth Kettlewell, informing them that Andy would be staying after school for detention, as he had profanities scrawled across his classwork.
What did it say?
I actually do know what it said, but I don't think it would be very viewer-friendly.
When has that ever stopped us?
I don't know, I just thought we'd try being a little less profane than we were last season.
Do you mean starting now after this point, we can't say fuck?
Andy, however, returned home on time. He told them that Chucky was the one who wrote the profanity on his paper. He claimed that he saw a good guy doll in the classroom, and he had locked it in the closet before slipping out the window, because Miss Kettlewell had locked him in while she called his parents.
Did they not have fire codes in 1990?
I was not alive, I'm not sure.
Okay, I see you trying not to sound old. That's the last year you can say you weren't alive for. Listeners at home, he was born in 1991. No matter how not old he tries to sound, he is.
I'm not trying to
old.
I'm just saying.
Old.
I wasn't alive to know the answer to the question.
Old.
Okay, I'm done talking.
Yeah, this teacher endangered my favorite little stab machine. She can go back to heck.
We can still say hell.
Watch your mouth, you old fuck.
Phil took Andy to the basement and made him point out the good guy doll, still laid out on the floor.
There are several of these dolls, and even beyond that, I don't think dolls stop for traffic signals.
That night, Phil and Joanne argued about sending Andy back to the orphanage, while Joanne reasoned that Andy needed more time to adjust, and that none of his outbursts had been particularly destructive.
Get it, Joanne?
She seems like a really caring woman based on this.
It's not her fault she ended up with Andy the Killer.
That night, Andy snuck downstairs and grabbed an electric turkey carver before heading to the basement, ready to end Chucky once more.
Yes!
The doll wasn't in the spot in the basement that Andy had pointed out earlier, so he searched before he claims he was ambushed by the doll. Phil heard the commotion upstairs and ventured to the basement to investigate.
While Andy's ready to carve? You goofing, big dog.
You think Phil's gonna get taken out with the turkey carver?
I can hope.
He's a real person. Joanne and Kyle then heard a crash from upstairs and rushed to the basement to find Phil on the ground, having fallen through the railing of the steps and landing headfirst on the concrete floor below, breaking his neck.
Oh man, I bet Andy had some sick line like, have a nice trip, or watch out for your neck there, buddy.
I don't think watch your neck there qualifies as a one-liner.
Why not?
It's not a saying, so you can't really use it as a play on words. It's like stabbing someone and saying, cream cheese! It doesn't work.
Is there a saying about necks?
Sticking your neck out, protect your neck.
Protect your neck. That's what I meant.
You thought the Wu-Tang Clan song went, Watch out for your neck there, buddy.
You know I had to have the edited CDs.
Kyle called an ambulance, and when Andy tried to explain himself, Joanne told him to stay away from her.
Oh, now she's a hater too? The safest place in the world is at Andy Barclay's side, girlfriend.
The authorities arrived and determined Phil's death an accident.
He a drinker?
I don't think so.
Wasn't an accident then.
Kyle packed Andy's bag as Grace Poole arrived to take Andy back to the orphanage.
She loses one little husband and she throws the kid out? The cops said it was an accident, and you could still trust them about that kind of stuff in 1990.
Hey, it puts more space between Andy and the house that supposedly has a Chucky in it.
Lucky for Chucky.
Andy warned Kyle that Chucky was still downstairs and to look out for him.
Aw, they're bonding.
So, man, do you think Andy is killing everyone and blaming Chucky, or that Chucky is doing it? You're jumping all over the place with it, little buddy.
Whatever option it is, I'm having a good time, Mike. Let me. Tell me more about my boy Andy.
Kyle found the good guy doll in the basement and threw it in the garbage can outside before sitting on the swing in the backyard to clear her head.
No, I said tell me what Andy was up to.
He was riding in a car.
Like a badass, no doubt.
Let me tell the story now.
She kicked up some of the dirt beneath the swing and was shocked to discover, buried a foot deep in the ground, Tommy, his head having been bashed in before the burial.
Dude, that's awful.
What is?
Wait, which one was Tommy?
The good guy doll that was in the closet. The one Andy was playing with. At some point, it had its face smashed and it was buried in the backyard.
Then what was the one that Kyle just threw away?
Geez, that's a tough one. Do you know of any other good guy dolls?
Just that one that made you piss yourself in kindergarten.
I didn't piss myself.
Ever?
Not in kindergarten.
Damn. Good for you.
Any other good guy dolls you know about?
Just Oh, dude!
Kyle went back to the trash can she had minutes before thrown the doll into, only to discover it was empty.
No trash?
There might have been trash in it, I don't know.
Then why did you say it was empty?
The doll wasn't there.
Oh, I've been cooking up this theory, actually.
Yeah, what's that?
That doll, the one that was in the house and mysteriously disappeared and showed up when Andy was at school,
Cody, Squirm.
That was Chucky.
Yeah, you might be onto something. We'll have to see, though.
Kyle ran inside and armed herself with a knife to find Joanne. She ventured upstairs into Phil and Joanne's bedroom to discover her body. Her throat had been cut and she was left at her sewing machine.
She should have sewn her throat back shut.
Kyle fell back onto the bed in shock, where she claims that Chucky was waiting under the sheets to attack her.
There was a freak in the sheets.
Alright.
No, Mike, did you hear that? It was a very funny joke. A freak in the...
Kyle claims that Chucky managed to wrestle the knife away and force her at knife point to take him to Andy.
Okay, so the story of the doll sneaking up on people is one thing. Or, like, knocking an old lady down. That's cool. Well, it's not cool, but I understand it. Well, I don't understand it,
We know
but...
what you mean, man. You're not going to get canceled. That's not a real thing.
Okay, forgot about that. Awesome. But anyway, him wrestling a knife away? No, not happening. Unless... Wait, is Kyle also a doll?
I did not mention Kyle being a doll, so no, Kyle is not a doll.
Then, yeah, that would be like me trying to wrestle a chicken wing away from you, and I know I ain't getting that chicken wing out of your hand.
And don't forget it.
An officer reported pulling Kyle over for speeding in the Simpsons family station wagon. He let her off with a warning, but did make note of the fact she had a doll in her passenger seat with a bloody nose. She told the officer it was a doll that bled, similar to the dolls that urinate.
The cultural impact of piss babies cannot be denied. I don't think a blood buddy would have caught on, though.
Blood Buddy. That would actually be a really cool name for something.
Yeah. I gotta say, if this doll thing is bullshit... bullshoes?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Andy has to be a real smooth talker to get a 17-year-old to do anything. And I would know.
How would you know?
My younger brother is 17.
Your younger brother is 27.
No, because, hang on, he was born in...
He's doing math right now.
Oh, wow. 2020 really ruined my perception of time.
At the orphanage, the fire alarm was pulled and the building evacuated. The last two to leave were Grace Poole and Andy, who found Kyle at the fire alarm. Kyle and Andy claimed that Chucky stabbed Grace, knocking her into the copy machine, producing several images immortalizing her gruesome fate.
All of this could have been prevented by just saying, "I don't know you, Uncle Charles." Click.
Potentially, or she would have gotten stabbed sooner, depending on who actually did this and if anyone else heard that atrocious voice.
That click earlier was a phone hanging up for the kids at home. Phones used to click.
I don't think any kids are watching, at least I hope not.
If they are, they should smash that like button and throw us a subscribe.
We talk about gruesome things, and I don't think kids are listening, but if you're not a kid, you can throw us that like and subscribe he was talking about.
Fortnite!
You play Fortnite.
The fire department responded to the alarm. Andy slipped out the window with the doll and jumped into the back of a newspaper van.
Newspaper van. Another one for the kids at home. Newspapers used to be the way that we got news, instead of Mike texting us several times at 6 a.m. In the bathtub, I'm assuming?
I've never texted you from the bathtub, no.
Okay. If you want to, that is okay.
Kyle stopped the vehicle by pulling in front of it. She and the enraged driver went to the back of the van, but Andy and Chucky were already gone.
Damn. Bet that was a surprising headline.
Where'd you get those sunglasses?
Storm clouds were reported over the nearby PlayPal toy factory, and nowhere else in the area. This is where the official story ends.
What? You can't leave Big Squirm hanging.
However, Andy and Kyle's account of the events was leaked to the public, and it reads as follows.
Oh, you got me with this last time. Hell yeah, let's go.
Kyle claimed she ran to the factory while Chucky attempted the soul transfer ritual on Andy. However, Chucky had waited too long and was now stuck in the doll's body.
Ha! Dummy.
Yeah, it is an unfortunate turn of events for him.
It was a play on words.
Oh, I get it.
Cream cheese!
Kyle and Andy ran into the maze of boxed good guy dolls waiting to be shipped as Chucky screamed in agony and pursued the two.
Mike, you ever think about how fast those two little legs can run?
Not really.
Think about it. How fast do you think you can run?
How fast can you run?
Uncalled for.
Kyle and Andy climbed a conveyor belt ramp with Chucky in pursuit, pinning his hand in a gate. Chucky had to tear the hand off to free himself.
Was it bleeding?
According to Andy and Kyle, yes.
Ugh. Could you imagine coming into work in the morning, you see some boxes knocked over, some blood on the ground? No biggie. Happens all the time at Amazon. But then, you go to open the gate, and you find a plastic hand with real bones and veins and blood in it?
Yeah, I imagine that all the time, Cody.
Would you take it home?
Why would I take it home?
What else would you do with it?
I'm not sure.
You could make a back scratcher out of it.
Technically, but I think if it became real, like, organic matter, it would eventually start rotting.
Yeah. You'd need a good taxidermist who can keep her mouth shut.
Why did you make it a woman?
Any gender or orientation can be a taxidermist, Mike.
Yeah, they can, but you specifically said her. Do you have someone in mind already?
If she can keep her mouth shut.
Before chasing after the two again, Chucky removed the handle of the knife and jammed it into his stump.
Knife hand!
Knife hand.
Wasn't there a guy that did that with a chainsaw or something?
We will get to that one.
What was his name?
It's less of a tease if you say it, man.
No, it's on the tip of my tongue. He was in the woods, I think.
A technician who was working late in the factory was found to have been laid out on the conveyor belt underneath the mechanism that punched the eyes into the good guy dolls. They had punctured his eye sockets, forcing their way through his brain.
That sounds especially gruesome.
It does.
Do you have a picture?
No.
Ah, worth a shot.
It was a PlayPal employee in a PlayPal facility, so it was swept under that rug.
Oof. It unsettles me how evil toy companies are. At least the people who make kids content on YouTube, like us, are on the up and up.
Dude, we don't.
Andy and Kyle managed to staple Chucky to a post and send him into the chamber that added the limbs to the dolls as he howled in pain. The screams stopped as a motionless mound of random melted and smoking limbs rolled out to them.
Yep, hanging out in the old limb chamber. Wait, wasn't Limb Chamber one of the mean girls?
Chucky, however, had freed himself and dragged his damaged body by a cart. He incapacitated Kyle and cornered Andy.
Ooh, you about to get the horns, Cucky. Wait, can we say Cucky?
I'm not sure.
But you're the one that knows the words we can say.
Yeah, but I didn't think Chucky would come up, so I didn't look it up.
But it rhymes with fuck.
Andy realized he was standing underneath the release valve for the molten liquid plastic.
Ooh, girl.
Andy put his hand on the lever.
Pull that lever!
Andy released the liquid upon Chucky, turning him into a puddle of flesh-colored goo.
I don't know why, but flesh-colored goo tickled my gag reflex.
It didn't when I said it, but when you said it, it kind of tickled mine too.
As Kyle awoke, Chucky rose again. She shoved a damaged air hose into his mouth, inflating his head until it exploded.
As far as ways to go out go, that's mind-blowing.
Where are all these sunglasses coming from?
In the aftermath, Andy and Kyle provided their story to police, which they kept under wraps until it was leaked years later. PlayPal swept the events under the rug, and the names of the two technicians still remain unreleased to the public, their families never coming forward.
I wouldn't come forward either. I don't think I'm gonna live for a super long time, but I don't want the reason I go out to be because I said too much about some dudes that sell dolls for a living.
Andy was placed back into the foster system for a few years, and Kyle went off the grid as soon as she turned 18.
I wonder if they told the future families Andy went to about all the business with the Simpsons.
Just watch your back, and if you see any dolls, move away.
If you can be easily overpowered by someone that's 1.5 feet tall and has arms made of fabric, don't carry any knives.
And this is our last segment of the show where I prod Cody's mind to get his expert opinion on details of the case.
Go ahead and prod me.
So, given what you know, is Andy still a badass?
Undoubtedly. I'm his ride or die.
So, I asked earlier, but you weren't super clear. Do you think Andy hurt these people?
I mean, the doll overpowered me thing is less believable than the doll came to life thing.
Right.
And though I find it amusing, this doll has bones is another red flag.
You're getting much more professional sounding at this.
I practiced between seasons.
Awesome. What's your analysis?
If Andy's story is a fabrication and he's truly a monster, he is a very effective monster, and despite murder being bad, I gotta give it to him.
The squirm donor, is it the squirm donor or squirm donor?
No the.
Okay. Squirm donor's cool with murder if it's an impressive physical feat.
And if his story is a true hood.
True hood?
The opposite of a falsehood. Open a dictionary, mate. If it's a true hood, then Chucky is a supernatural freak of nature. Andy is basically this doll's Van Helsing. And Van Helsing is a badass and very handsome.
So what do you think the truth is?
Let's go, Andy. That's the true hood.
I still don't think that's a word, but alright, who do you think Uncle Chuck was?
Did he have an uncle?
No.
Did his mom or his dead-ass dad have a friend named Chuck?
No.
The executive guy who owned the phone then? Maybe his boss was like, yo, take care of this kid.
Then who killed the executive?
Dude wants to go after Andy. And he's always gonna be the last man standing.
So your version of events is the executive called the orphanage, asked Grace where Andy lived, drove close to the neighborhood, then Andy came outside, tied his hands behind the seat, put a bag over his head, then went back home without being noticed.
Maybe? Dude, I am open to every possibility. I'm just excited to be back.
I'm glad you're excited because we're going to get a little weird this weekend.
Ooh, sexy weird or spooky weird?
Spooky weird.
Well, I know what's on my wish list for season 3 then.
I don't think season 3 is going to be the sexy season.
What kind of weird we getting into?
Well, on the docket we have Obviously, some more madmen and madwomen.
Oh, trying to save face after the taxidermy misogyny. Nice.
But we're also going to be looking at supposed possessions, supposed living animatronics, supposed aliens.
I'm on board for the ghost and pizza robots, but aliens?
Supposed aliens.
I don't know.
So you believe in ghosts but not aliens?
I mean, I'm sure aliens are real. It's the, hey, let's go to Earth part that I find hard to believe.
Fair.
Which of those things is next episode?
None of them.
What?
Next time we'll be talking about a case that some blame on a cult,
I love cults.
while some believe it was the work of a vampire.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Tell me now.
We're only a short while away.
Please.
It'll be here before you know it, so everyone make sure to subscribe. Don't forget that when we hit 100, we'll cover the Camp Crystal Lake Massacre. So throw us a like, leave a comment about the case or ones you'd like to see in the future, but most importantly, keep it real.
And keep it strange. Squirm donor, out.
Damn it.